Hello everyone, Catweasel here. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to our playthrough of Arkham Horror, the card game where we are playing the Dunwich Legacy campaign, and we have just started a new scenario. Yes, this is our first episode doing Undimensioned and Unseen, and we're going to keep Daisy and Zoe. Mainly because they do have the powder of Ibn Ghazi and you do need it for this particular scenario. So they're going to carry on. Let's just pretend that Jenny and Zoe, they're still recovering from the Essex County Express. We'll probably meet them in the next scenario, but we'll see how we go on. Okay, so let's get on with setup for Undimensioned and Unseen, which is our 6th scenario. And as you can see, I've already done some of the setup, but we're going to have to finish all that off. So first of all, we've got to read some stuff as normal, just to introduce us to this particular scenario. So scenario 5, Undimensioned and Unseen. Your search of the village of Dunwich has uncovered a number of documents, journal entries and esoteric theories. Reading through these materials leaves you exhausted and emotionally drained. Most of the content was written by a single source, a man named Seth Bishop. When you ask around town, you learn that Seth is a citizen of Dunwich. Along with several others, Seth had witnessed firsthand the devastation wrought by the events of the Dunwich Horror, as Armitage had dubbed the incident. Curiously, since that time, very few people had seen Seth around town, and those who did claimed his eyes had been bloodshot and his face sweaty and pale. You don't doubt that somebody who has seen what Seth has seen would appear nervous or paranoid, but the more you read of his frantic and unhinged writings, the more you believe he is involved in recent events. His writings speak of having gathered the remains and of using arcane methods to imbue the Father's essence into other creatures and eventually into other people. The explanations and diagrams that follow are unfathomably complex and defy understanding. Before you are able to find Seth and confront him, several men and women from the village approach you in a panic. "It's back!" one of them wails. You recognise him as Curtis Whately, one of the undecayed branch. "Whatever it was that killed them Fryes, it's back! Up and smash the bishop's home like it were made of paper!" Curtis and the other townsfolk are clamouring amongst themselves, raising their voices in a panic. The investigators must decide, so we're going to choose one now. We can either try and calm down the townsfolk in order to learn more, in which case we proceed to part 1, or 2, you try to warn the townsfolk and convince them to evacuate. Skip to part 2. Well, looking at Daisy and Zoe, I think they would warn the townsfolk. So we're going to go to part 2. You warn the townsfolk that they are in grave danger and urge them to flee Dunwich while they can. Several of them immediately heed your advice, remembering the terrible monstrosity that had previously endangered the town. Curtis drops to his knees in despair, sweating feverishly. "It's that thing again, ain't it? It's come back for us," Curtis stutters. "I hope you got some of that powder the old professor had last time. We couldn't even see the damn thing till he sprayed it. To this day I wish we hadn't seen it at all. Something must be done to stop the monster's rampage, but if the documents you found are true, there may be more than one such creature on the loose." Dun, dun, dun. So we've got a record in our campaign log that you warned the townsfolk. And now we can continue to set up. So for the setup, we have gathered up all of the following encounter sets. We have Undimensioned and Unseen, which is here. We have Whippoorwills, how we like Whippoorwills here. And we also have Beast Thralls, they are here. We have Dunwich, which is here. We also had that in the last scenario. And we also have Striking Fear, which is Dissonant Voices and all of those. So I've pulled all of those out, they're all here. Then what we've got to do is we've got to put one version of each of our locations into play. There are two versions of each location. They're on top of one another at the moment. We've got Dunwich Village, Blasted Heath, Cold Spring Glen, 10 Acre Meadow, Whately Ruins, and the Devil's Hopyard. So what we'll just quickly do now is they're just one on top of the other, the way that they came out of the deck. And what we'll do is we'll just roll a die for each one, and we'll go clockwise from Dunwich Village. And 1 to 3 will be the top card, and 4 to 6 will be the bottom card. So that's a 3. So we keep the top card. Pop that down there. For Dunwich Village. We'll keep these cards. You'll see they'll come in a bit later on. So next up is Blasted Heath. That's a 6. So in that case we keep the bottom card. Next up is the Devil's Hopyard. Another 6. I just roll 6 for fun, me. So again, that's the bottom. Then it's the Whately Ruins. A 1. So we keep the top one. Followed by Cold Spring Glen. That's a 4. So again, we keep the bottom one. Pop that there. And finally, 10 Acre Meadow. Whoop. And that's a 1 as well. So we keep the top. There we are. I'll straighten those out later. We'll just keep these off to one side, because what we have to do is we will have to, at various points, choose a location at random. So I'll just pop these off to the side. Over there. Right, so we've picked the actual locations that we're going to use, so we can get rid of this and this for the time being. Put it out of the way. And we can get back to the setup. Okay, so we've done that. Check the number of names recorded under sacrifice to Yog-Sothoth in your campaign log. Well, there are 2 names listed. If you recall, it was Wazza, Warren Rice, and it was poor old Earl Sawyer that bit the dust. If there are exactly 2 names listed, put 1 copy of Brood of Yog-Sothoth into play. Well, we have done that, and it goes at Cold Spring Glen. So it's here. We've got one of these horrible things already out on the board. It's already in the countryside. So that is the Brood of Yog-Sothoth. It's 6 combat. It's got 1 health and 3 to evade. It's a monster abomination and it's massive. Brood of Yog-Sothoth gets +1 health per investigator. So there are 2, so it's got 2 health at the moment. And cannot be damaged or attacked except using the ability on esoteric formula. So there we go. I believe there's a chance of putting it out of business. H.P. Lovecraft, the Dunwich Horror. It does 2 health damage and 2 horror damage, and it has a victory point. We will put it back at Cold Spring Glen. We will probably see more of that later on. And in addition to that, we set 3 copies of the Brood of Yog-Sothoth to one side, so they're there. Now, there is another copy, but we put that back. Yeah, we don't use that, so that's off to one side. So we've got 3 that are currently off the board that can come on, and the 1 that is already on the board, so 4 in total. We set aside each copy of Esoteric Formula out of play. And as you can see, they are next to the Brood of Yog-Sothoth. There are 4 of those there over there. An investigator with the powder of Ibn Ghazi in his or her deck may search his or her deck for it and put it into play. And we've done that. Zoe had the powder of Ibn Ghazi, and I've put the 3 clues on it, because it gets 3 clues for each person who didn't get sacrificed to Yog-Sothoth. So that was Armitage, it was Morgan, and Zebulon Whately. So those 3 didn't get sacrificed, so it gets 3 charges on it. So done that. Each investigator searches the collection for a random basic madness, injury or pact weakness and adds it to his or her deck for the remainder of the campaign. Isn't that nice? So what I've done is I've got the weaknesses together here. They've just pacts, injuries and madness. I took all the others out. So give this a shuffle and we get 1 each of these. Won't that be nice? So there we go, we'll give it a cut. And Zoe first, she's always our lead investigator. She gets drawing the sign, a basic weakness, pact, madness. Revelation, put drawing the sign into play in your threat area. Your maximum hand size is reduced by 5 while checking your hand size during the upkeep phase. Discard drawing the sign, that will cost us 2 actions. So isn't that a nice one to get? And Daisy gets hypochondria, basic weakness, madness. Revelation, add hypochondria to your threat area. Forced, after you take 1 or more damage, take 1 direct horror. 2 actions again to discard. So those are our weaknesses that we have had to add. And I think that is it, apart from shuffling the encounter decks. And yes, that is it. So we'll go on to other things. So I'll do all that shuffling later, and I'll give them a real good shuffle, and then I'll just do a quick shuffle just before we start our first round. Other things to go through. Undimensioned and unseen. Let's see what the chaos tokens stand for. So we're on easy standard. The skull tokens are -1 for each brood of Yog-Sothoth in play. So at present, they will be -1 because we've got 1 at Cold Spring Glen. The cowled cultist, reveal another token. If you fail this test, take 1 horror. The broken tablet, 0. You must either remove all the clue tokens from a brood of Yog-Sothoth in play, or this token's modifier is -4 instead. Ooh, nasty. The Elder Thing token, -3. If this token is revealed during an attack or evasion attempt against a brood of Yog-Sothoth, it immediately attacks you. So that'll be nice as well. So put that off to one side. Let's have a look at our agenda. So our starting agenda is, strangely enough, 1A, rampaging creatures. Reports of terrifying entities wreaking havoc across the countryside have caused the citizens of Dunwich to panic. Worse, the creatures seem to be invisible to the naked eye. Forced, at the end of the enemy phase, move each brood of Yog-Sothoth enemy once towards a random location, which is why we will need those cards. So we'll be doing that every enemy phase. We have got 5 doom as a limit on that, so we'll put that over here. Then we'll go on to the act. Act 1A is Saracenic Script. The monsters tearing through Dunwich County are immune to traditional weapons. Only by reciting a particular incantation can the creatures be defeated. First, you must search the ruins of Wilbur Whately's home in order to find the final sections of the otherworldly script. Objective: only investigators at Whately Ruins may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. So we'll need to spend 4 clues because we have 2 investigators. And then we can get hold of the esoteric formula. Right, so pop that in here. Let's move everything across so it fits. There we are. So we've gone through that. what I'll do now is, just before I shuffle together the encounter deck, let's have a look at the changes that we've made to the decks of our investigators. Zoe and Daisy, you know them by now. What have we changed? Well, first of all, they've got hypochondria and they've got drawing the sign, which we've just pulled. Additionally, Dr. Henry Armitage went to Zoe. So she's got the powder of Ibn Ghazi, which she has put into play as per the setup. And in the end, I decided that Zebulon would go to Daisy Walker. Just gives her an additional willpower if we put him into play, so we've popped him there. What other changes have I made? Well, we've made 2 for Zoe. I can't remember exactly what we got rid of. I think it was a taunt and a 32 Colt, but I'm not too sure. Just check the end. I have put it on a PowerPoint slide, so you'll see it at the end of the episode. So we took Bandolier. The reason is, if we just look at it, it's cost 2, it's an asset, it's got a combat icon, it's an item. You have 1 additional hand slot which could only be used to hold a weapon asset. Why have I got this? Counts as like a sort of armour, and it does have 1 health on it. Well, the reason I've got this is because I've also got the lightning gun. Somebody mentioned the lightning gun. I think it was Anthony having a laugh, but I thought, cool, this is just the sort of thing that Zoe would love to have. Let's have her with a lightning gun, why not? So it is quite costly. It cost 5. We had to pay an XP here for... Oh, it cost 6, sorry. But as far as paying with XP goes, it cost 5. And obviously we have to pay an XP to swap a card out anyway. So all of her 6 XP went on the lightning gun and the bandolier. And the lightning gun obviously uses 2 hands. So if we've got the bandolier, that means we can put the machete in the other hand. Something like that, yeah. So we've done that, and we've added those to her deck. As usual, we will give these a good old shuffle shortly. As far as Daisy goes, now Daisy has made quite a few changes. She did have 7 XP to spend. She spent 3 of her XP on higher education. Now, this is always in play, it's permanent. So we'll just put it over there and then we'll know to be able to use it. It's a talent, it's permanent. While you have 5 or more cards in your hand, higher education gains as a free action. Spend 1 resource, you get +2 willpower for this skill test. And again, another free action, if you spend a resource, we get +2 intellect for this skill test. Again, Daisy is going to be our person to get clues. Zoe is going to be our person to kill things. So this is the way that we're moving. So higher education, that'll be immediately in play. We'll do that later. Magnifying glass. I got rid of the old magnifying glass for this, and it's the upgrade. So this cost us 1. It's an asset, but now it doesn't cost us anything to put it into play, other than, no, nothing at all, because it's fast. So we can just put it immediately into play once we get it. It's got an intellect icon, it's an item, it's a tool. +1 intellect while investigating. The free action, if there are no clues on your location, return magnifying glass to your hand. Whee! A lens into a world unseen can reveal things you wish it hadn't. So, just got the upgrade for magnifying glass. And we've got 2 pathfinders. These cost 1 each and cost 3 to put into play. They are an asset and they have an agility icon. Talent. Free action, during your turn, if you are not engaged with any enemies, exhaust Pathfinder, move to a connecting location. Searches after horror haunt strange far places. H.P. Lovecraft, the picture in the house. This and shortcut, we could need her to be, you know, whizzing around the map. So picking up clues, so I've just put these in. I forget what I got rid of, but again, just have a look at the PowerPoint slide at the end and you'll be able to see what has come out and what has gone in. Right, there we go. Those are the changes as regarding our investigators. And I think that's it, apart from a lot of shuffling. So I will be back shortly. And here we are, back after a lot of shuffling. Okay, let's quickly do the encounter deck again. Just give it a couple of those and a cut. The encounter deck is ready to rock and roll. Pop that there. Very good. And then it is drawing our starting hands, is it not? So here we go, another quick shuffle and a quick cut. That'll do. And our first 5 cards are emergency cash, overpower, another emergency cash, machete, and smite the wicked. But we're not allowed to smite the wicked, it's a weakness, we can't have it in our starting hand. And flashlight. So what we're going to kick back? Well, we'll kick flashlight back because we are, you know, if we have to, we would investigate for clues, but that's what Daisy's here for, so we'll throw that back. We'll throw one of our emergency caches back as well. We will keep machete, unsurprisingly, and get rid of overpower. Yes, I think we'll just keep emergency cache and machete, and we'll draw 3 more. The good old lightning gun. Woo! We could do with bandolier now. Come on. Guts. And our final card, beat cop. So that's pretty good. That'll do. So let's take the rest of these. Just plonk them in here. And then we'll give them another shuffle. And that is Zoe ready to rock and roll. Pop her cards over there. And after her, it is Daisy. First card. Hypochondria, that is a weakness, so we'll put that up there. Pathfinder, could be useful. Dr. Morgan. Perception. Emergency cache. And flashlight. Well, I think we're going to get rid of most of these. We'll keep the emergency cache. Obviously, what I'm after is Old Book of Law. Here, by hook or by crook. So we'll pick another 4. Drawn to the flame. Working a hunch. The Necronomicon, that's the weakness, because it's the John Dee one. So pop that up there. So we've still got 2 to draw. Old Book of Law, yes. And Research Librarian, who we always seem to pick. But we don't particularly need him this time. Although we can use him to get the other Necronomicon. So we might do that. Okay, all the rest of these can get shuffled back in. Give them a good old shuffle. And a cut. And got loads of cards now with all the extras that we've picked up. So there we go, those are the opening hands. I'll straighten those up in a moment. And what else have we got to do before we actually start the game? We're on Dunwich Village, so we're all set up ready to go, so we may as well see what's on the other side of this. So Dunwich Village, it's a location, and it's Dunwich. It is always a relief to get clear of the place and to follow the narrow road around the base of the hills and across the level country beyond until it rejoins the Aylesbury Pike. Afterward, one sometimes learns that one has been through Dunwich. H.P. Lovecraft, the Dunwich Horror. Let's flick it over. So here we are, Dunwich Village. It's got a shroud of 3 and it's got a single clue. Location, Dunwich. As an action you can resign, you hide from the creatures. And as a free action, you borrow some hounds to track the creatures by scent. An investigator in Dunwich village may place one of his or her clues on any abomination enemy in play. Group limit once per game. Ooh, good, good. And pop that there. That is excellent. Okie dokie, so Dunwich village needs a clue on it. So we'll just pop that down here. Oh no, that's where I put any monsters, so we'll just pop it up here. There we go, there is a clue at Dunwich village. And that's it, we are ready to rock and roll. So what I'll do is I'll go away, I'll just neaten this up, and then I'll go away, upload the setup, and I will be back shortly with our first turn of Undimensioned and Unseen. I shall see you shortly. And here we are with round 59. Yes, indeed, the start of Undimensioned and Unseen. As ever, you do not have a mythos phase at the start of a scenario, so we go straight into the investigation phase. We're going to have Zoe go first, and I think the first action that she is going to do is she is going to play Emergency Cash. So we'll get rid of that. That will give her 3 of these, but we'll put them straight back in the supply because we are going to promote Machete first up. So that's going to go straight up here, and then she is going to spend another 4 for a second action. She's going to spend another 4 to promote Beat Cop. So now the good thing about this version of Beat Cop, this one costs 2 XP, is we can exhaust him and deal 1 damage. We don't have to discard him, we just exhaust him. Plus the fact he gives 3 extra health and 2 extra sanity. So we'll put him up, and he should be useful against whippoorwills because we just exhaust him, get rid of whippoorwills. Whippoorwills are still a pain because they're aloof, so you've always got to use an action to sort of bring them towards you. But because he has got a fast action here, we sort of get that action back by just exhausting him and getting rid of the whippoorwill. So we'll put Beat Cop up. Now, we do have Lightning Gun, but I must confess, I got Lightning Gun because I just like the idea of it. It's actually pretty useless in this particular scenario because we cannot use it on the broods of Yog-Sothoth. We need the special esoteric formula, and so essentially she's brought a Lightning Gun to a esoteric formula fight, but it doesn't matter because it's fun, and there are things like thralls and the whippoorwills and stuff that we can also, you know, if we do get Lightning Gun into play, we can always use it against them for a laugh. But yes, it's Zoe. She had to have a Lightning Gun, man. So, but we're not going to put it into play. I think Machete will be better and Beat Cop will be better, so we'll use our resources on them. So there we go, and that's it. Yes, that was her final action to put Beat Cop into play. Spent 1 action to play Emergency Cash, 1 action to put Machete into play, and 1 action to put Beat Cop in play. So that is it for Zoe Samaras. Next up, it is Daisy Walker, and very similar. This is why I haven't zoomed in. We're just putting things into play, so there's not really much point. So what she's going to do is she's going to spend 3 of her resources, and what she's going to do is she is going to play the good old Book of Law. So that's her first action, and we'll put the old Book of Law into play. The Research Librarian and this Emergency Cash, we'll leave that till next turn, I think. She's played that, and then she's going to use her final 2 resources. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to use Working a Hunch. So this is fast, yep, so it's not going to cost us an action. And play it during our turn, which is now I'm going to discover that clue at our location. It's just a nice quick way of getting a clue for 2 resources. So pop that over there and we will pick this clue up. So that is good. We've got 2 actions left. In fact, should I play emergency cash? I was thinking about moving twice and going to the Whately ruins straight away. Because we do have Drawn to the Flame, which could be useful for picking up clues there. That'd get us an extra 2 clues, which would be 3 in total. And, well, assuming there are clues at the Whately ruins, but I imagine there are. But I don't... In fact, we will. That's what we'll do. We're going to risk it for a biscuit, so we're going to move twice. Oh, just before we move twice, we do have Old Book of Law in play, so we can use this action. We'll use this action first, and we'll have a look at our top 3 cards and pick one. Why not? It may come in useful if we get a shortcut or something like that. So the scrying, manual dexterity. Now, I may well take that, and I'll tell you the reason why if we do. And hypochondria. Well, we're not taking hypochondria, so that can go back in. We won't take scrying because we have Old Book of Law in play, so put that in. Shuffle those in a moment. The reason I'm going to take manual dexterity is it's the one problem until we get an esoteric formula, is we cannot fight these broods. Yeah, we need to be able to sort of dodge them. So manual dexterity will help Daisy dodge. So that's why we are going to use this, and we're going to keep this. So we'll put manual dexterity down here, and the rest get shuffled very quickly. Put them in. There we go, and we'll do a cut. So, may prove useful a little later on. We've still got 2 of our actions left, and we're going to do those 2 moves. So, let's actually get to the board and do that. And here we are at the board. 2 actions. And she is going to move. So, first of all, she's going to go to 10 Acre Meadow. And pop. So let's have a look at this. Even though we're just passing through, hopefully there'll be nothing on the other side of the card that's going to cause us a problem. Location, Dunwich. The trees of the frequent forest belts seem too large, and the wild weeds, brambles and grasses attain a luxuriance not often found in settled regions. At the same time, the planted fields appear singularly few and barren. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dunwich Horror. So let's flick it over. So 10 Acre Meadow. Location Dunwich, Shroud of 3, and it's only got a single clue again. As a free action, you lure the monster into the rain. Place 1 clue from the token bank on an abomination enemy in 10 Acre Meadow. At the end of the round, remove 1 clue from that enemy. Group limit once per game. So you've got to keep an eye. Each of the locations have something like this. They're all slightly different, but you've got to keep an eye on that. Do forget, I'm sure you guys will point it out, but yes, there's a lot to remember in this scenario. So there is a clue on 10 Acre Meadow. Pop that in here, and let's dig a clue out. Put that there. I don't think that's enough for us to stop there at the moment. What we will do is we will carry on. So we will move, and we're going to move to the Whately ruins. So let's have a look at this. Whately ruins, location Dunwich. It was as though a house launched by an avalanche had slid down through the tangled growths of the almost vertical slope. H.P. Lovecraft, The Dunwich Horror. So another Shroud of 3, and this has got 2 clues per investigator on it, so it's got 4 clues. Location Dunwich. Each investigator in Whately ruins gets -1 willpower, which is a bit of a downer. As a free action, you hurl a nearby canister of paint at the monster. An investigator in Whately Ruins may place up to 3 of his or her clues on an abomination enemy in the Whately Ruins. And the group limit is once per game, so that's a group limit. So either Daisy can do that or Zoe. But as soon as one of them has done that, then that's it for the rest of the game. So let's dig out the clues. Whoop. And that's 4 clues. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Straighten all that up after. So that is the Whately Ruins. And there are a few clues there for the lovely Daisy to be picking up. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. Okay, that is it now. She is out of actions. That is it for the investigation phase. So next up, it will be the enemy phase. And here we are at the enemy phase, and we do have an enemy, and we have to do something because of the agenda, I think. So let's just check. Yes, forced. At the end of the enemy phase, we move each brood of Yog-Sothoth enemy once toward a random location. So the way that works is, for example, he's here at Cold Spring Glen. Now, when we do that random location, if it turns out it's the Devil's Hopyard, then obviously it'll go to the Whately Ruins on the way to the Devil's Hopyard. Yeah, it doesn't move straight to the Devil's Hopyard. It just moves closer, or as close as it can. If we pick the same location, it obviously stays where it is. So we're going to do that. Now, I was going to use these, but I've just noticed that obviously we've got 6 locations. So what we'll do is use a die. And we'll go from Dunwich Village again clockwise. So Dunwich Village is 1, Blasted Heath 2, Devil's Hopyard 3, Whately Ruins 4, Cold Spring Glen is 5, and 10 Acre Meadow is 6. And we get 5, which is Cold Spring Glen. So it doesn't move at all, so that's great. And that is it for the enemy phase. Let's move on and let's get to the upkeep phase. And here we are at the upkeep phase. One thing I should have done is I should have exhausted Old Book of Law. I forgot, but we will do it now and unexhaust it. So there we go. Then we get all our actions back. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And it's draw some cards time. Okay, so we get a card for Zoe, and she gets an event. Costs 1 if it bleeds. Got a willpower icon, combat icon. Fast. Play after you defeat a monster enemy. Each investigator at your location heals horror equal to that enemy's horror value. It's a small comfort, but you'll take it. Right, so we'll put that down here. Very good. And she gets a resource, which puts her up to 2. Pop that there. Then we get a card for Daisy. And she gets deduction. Brilliant. So she's just a beast for picking up clues, because we really need to get those esoteric formulas as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we'll be just trying to avoid, evade these guys all the time, and we're not very good at evasion. So the quicker we can pick these clues and advance that act, the better. So deduction, it's a skill. It's got an intellect icon, practice keyword. If this skill test is successful, while investigating a location, discover 1 additional clue at that location. Fantastic. I knew I had seen this symbol before. I must warn the others before it is too late. So deduction will come in extremely useful. Pop that there. And she gets a resource. The other good thing about deduction as well, because it's a skill, doesn't cost you anything. Don't have to pay any resources for it, so that's cool. Very good. Right, so I think that is it for everything. Yes, that appears to be it. So that is the end of round 59, and that is the end of this episode. Obviously, we had all the setup and everything, so we're probably hitting about 40 minutes after I upload all this and do all the editing. So we will leave it there. Pretty good start. We got very lucky in that when the brood of Yog-Sothoth moved, it didn't move at all. Because if it moves while we haven't got the wherewithal to evade it or to kill it, then it's going to cause us a whole heap of problems, which is pretty much why I've put Daisy straight across to the Whately ruins. With any luck, with Drawn to the Flame and with deduction, we can pick up all those clues, advance the act, and we get esoteric formula, and then Zoe can do her thing, which basically means you can go around killing stuff. So we're going to try and do that. And yes, so yeah, it's started okay, but how often do we say that in this game? So good start. We need to keep it going. The quicker that we can kill these things, the better. So that is the plan. But a good start. Very pleased with that. Okay, so that is it for episode 32. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for all the views. Thank you for all the subscriptions, for all the likes and the dislikes, and for all the help and support. You guys are great. If you've noticed any errors, as ever, give me a shout. I've been away for about a week, not been able to actually play. I've been doing other stuff, so I could have forgotten a few things. Things are very easily driven out of my mind, so if I've missed something, please give me a shout and I'll do my best to fix it. Hopefully we'll have a good chance at that because we've only played one round, so any mistakes I make, I should be able to fix. Other than that, if you're at Board Game Links watching this, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Similarly, if you're watching this at Board Game Geek, thank you. Anybody who's made any comments, here, there, anywhere, you're a star. Thank you. And any Geek Gold, likes, anything like that, thank you very much. That is it for episode 32 of Undimensioned and Unseen. I hope you will join me for episode 33. But until then, this is me, Cat Weasel, signing off. Toodaloo.